Becky Split. I'm with StudyBlue. We deliver a mobile study platform to students. Our students are generally middle school to med school, though we don't restrict who can use it. It's a free service for students. Before I jump into slides while they're bringing that up, I thought I would start with a few numbers and position StudyBlue in maybe a little bit different way, because after 2.5 days of being here, you're probably like me. You're hearing a lot of some of the same themes and you're starting to tune them out. We all know the time is right for education technology to solve a lot of problems. We all care about teachers and great content and better delivery of that content and more open access to that information. So I'm going to skip all of that. There's one piece of it that we focus on and the way we think about it that I think is a little bit different. And that is that we focus on what I call the middle explanation. So very high level, 50,000 foot, we think learning happens in 3 explanations. Teacher explains the concept to the student. Could be a textbook, online lecture, teacher in front of a big, in-person situation. In the middle, the teacher explains it to themselves, or the student explains it to themselves. That's where they really get into long-term memory. They bring their own perceptions, their own background, their own experiences, apply it to whatever that information is that was just taught to them or they just read to make it make sense to them. And then at some point, hopefully they've mastered that process, they explain it on a test. So most of the information they're learning, they need to prove that they know it, to move on to the next level. We focus on the middle explanation. So we're not trying to focus on improving and repurposing teaching material or better institutions or better ways to deliver that information. We're focused on that middle piece. So I'm going to give you a few numbers now to kind of bring that a little bit more into perspective. Sorry, I wasn't quite ready for that. So the most commonly used textbook in the United States, most of you probably know, Biology by Campbell. In the vast majority of AP biology classes in high school, and the vast majority of 100-level biology classes in colleges across the country, that's the textbook that they use. We had a graduate student kind of dissect it just to kind of see if our numbers were right, and approximately 2,000 concepts is what a teacher tries to teach out of Biology by Campbell over the course of a year or 2 semesters of its college. 2,000 facts. There are about 30,000 teachers that are teaching those same 2,000 facts every year. There are over 1 million students that are learning those same 2,000 facts from those teachers every year. Those students are taking well north of 50 million pages of notes on those 2,000 facts every year. The next year, the 2,000 facts might change a little bit, but over the last 50 years, haven't changed a lot. The 30,000 teachers can only do so much. They don't have more time. The facts are what they are. And they're somewhat limited and constrained to how much they can improve the way they can deliver the concept. They get one chance to teach it, usually, to however many students they have that they have to impart that to. The students' notes every year, another 100% turnover of those more than 50 million pages of notes. Why? Because for much material, they have to make it their own. They have to explain it to themselves, ideally in the most powerful way, in an environment where they can share and compare it with peers that are like-minded, to improve how quickly they can learn it and be more efficient with it. So at StudyBlue, whoops, now I guess we'll go back to that. I'll get this. Are you doing that for me?
Yeah, make sure you do the...
You saw the slide, so I'll just talk about it. So I am going backwards, but there we go. Now we're going backwards. So, so how do we do this? We do this by delivering a digital backpack for students. So we believe that everybody who carries a backpack on their back will have a digital backpack. And we say, get your stuff off your back and into your phone. As soon as it's in your phone and it's digital, there is so much more we can do to help you learn that. Students are craving doing this. I mean, we have over 3 million students now with digital backpacks. We launched our platform in 2010, fall of 2010. Once they mobilize their notes, we can give them tools to take notes. If you're in your lab, you can pull up StudyBlue. You can card the picture of the beaker and say, this is what's happening when there's a chemical reaction. You can walk out of that lab, and with GPS technology, we can give you a crowdsourced deck of all the study cards that were made in that lab from all of your peers. Much more powerful than having to sit there and use pen and paper. But in the process, you now have, across any device in your pocket, wherever you are, pick up where you're left off, the ability to quiz yourself, review that information, send information back and forth to peers that are doing it, and look at each other's reviewed material. So we believe the real power in our platform is being able to connect you with other shared material that makes sense to you and with other like-minded people anywhere in the world. So all of our students and all of our material, we pretty much know the student, the year in school, the class, the professor, the textbook they're using, and the school that they're at. But we don't limit you to only connecting or reviewing shared information from people in that small microcosm. In many cases, that is what you're most interested in, and that might be enough, but not in all cases. So I have a couple minutes left. I'm going to skip over this slide. This is one of those slides that I won't skip over this one. The last one I meant to skip because it's kind of the background on what's happening in the industry that you've heard many times. So where do our students come from? Our growth is all word of mouth. We're found by students, and other students hear about it from each other, with the exception of middle school, where we now have 30% of our users, where by and large our growth is coming from teachers recommending it to their students. They're saying, hey, this is a great way for students to learn the stuff that I teach. They might actually engage with my material outside of class because it's on their phone and they can text with each other, their classmates. So we now have students from over 16,000 colleges. You can read the numbers yourself. Every country in the world, though the vast majority are in the United States. We believe we have the world's largest and fastest growing library of shared student-generated study material in higher ed. North of 125 million study materials now. You can say, well, if you have 1,000 different explanations of Pythagorean theorem, does that really matter? Yes, because every one of those matters to somebody. It matters to who made it. And in the process, it's making the best explanations that we serve up to the next person that comes in that much better. You've seen these numbers, so I will also move on. I will just say one point that I will make here is that I invite you all to go on to StudyBlue after this and search on your favorite cocktail, or search on yoga poses, or IFR, flight rating exam material. What we find is that students don't stop learning and they walk out of a classroom or off a campus. And once they develop their habits around carding stuff on the fly they need to know, having quick access to it to pull it up, they use it for all kinds of things in their life. So number one job of male college students is bartenders. We have thousands of recipes for Bloody Marys on StudyBlue because it's that easy. They're already using this every day, pulling it out, carding stuff, and looking it up. We don't stop learning. We're all lifelong learners. That's the last thing that I'll say. So I invite you to StudyBlue. Thank you very much.